Hello, welcome to Conversations with Yemi and Bimbo David.
Yes.
Isn't he handsome?
Good to be with you today again on Conversations. I want to believe that our conversations today will add value to you and bless you one way or the other. We have a very hot topic to discuss. I want Bimbo to
Okay,
introduce
so
that to
first,
us.
first of all, some weeks ago, we had the privilege of traveling, outside the country, and we had some conflict, some beautiful conflict, in the sense that I wanted to stay back,
Yes.
and he didn't want me to stay back,
Hmm.
in the name of, oh, I'll miss you. I would, and I was like, you can come now and all. Anyways, the long and short of it is a lot of people are traveling. Have been traveling, young people, couples, and
Is it
all.
traveling or living?
Relocating.
From where? From Canada to Nigeria?
Really.
From where?
Out of Nigeria to different countries, Canada, UK, US,
Okay,
Germany, and all.
Hmm.
And we realize, especially young couples,
Young people.
with young children or otherwise, really. And we've seen, well, people we spoke to, we traveled, like I said, and we had a lot of conversations with people, especially Nigerians and Africans outside that live outside their country. And there's some strain that we see, especially when you see
Oh, yes.
the effect on their marriages, even their children. So that's what we want to talk about. The fact that people have to travel for whatever reason, school and all, and some of them are married or they get married there, but so they've left Nigeria. Let's use Nigeria as an example. But if it's showing up in their marriages, the negative effects, consequences of. So that's what I want to talk about. Why do you think that happened?
Are you asking?
Yes, sir.
Why
Because
people are living?
you when I said I wanted to, that we were looking at, or I didn't mind relocating. The first thing, you were so against it. You were like,
Wait, now this is, I mean, we're pastors, I'm sure you know that, and I believe you know that. I've been praying for people virtually almost every day. People leaving the country, couples, young people, leaving Nigeria to the West, like UK, Canada, United States, and it's really alarming. But when we traveled, as she said, we realized that people did not plan the other parts. And we had to do a lot of like counseling, because some marriages are just tearing apart. Some, if not many, are having challenges with their kids. So I realized that a lot of people are just, like, we call it Japa, just living without looking at it holistically, planning the other parts. And it looks like you are trying to solve one problem and then you are creating some other problems that on the long run, plus minus, life might not really be better. So I think people should think about that. Yeah. First, what I want to encourage is this: don't just do things because other people are doing it.
Yeah.
I know some people might say, look at pastor. Yeah, don't just do things. It happens in every generation. People always try to join the bandwagon. Everybody is selling sachet water. I want to go into sachet water business. Everybody is, jackpaing. Me too, I want to jackpa. And I realize that when everybody jackpas, some people, their lives will be better off, and some people, they might just end up in a massive disaster. Can you be objective? Can you look at yourself? And permit me to say, can you also pray to God? I know you might wonder, pray the way my country is. Yeah, God knows about your life. God knows what his plans are for you as a person. I believe God's plans for people are very unique. The way our fingerprints are unique. I'm not saying you should not have a desire to jackpot, but just talk to God about it, okay? Let God guide your steps. Who knows? The country you're even thinking of going to might not be where, like, God will lead you to go to. It could be another country. You might be thinking of country A, and then God could lead you to country B. And for some people, like us, yes, we have the opportunity out there, but I prayed on behalf of the family.
We'll talk about that.
Wait.
We'll talk about
I will
that
talk about
later.
it now.
No,
When I
no,
prayed,
no, no, no.
the Holy Spirit said to me on behalf of our
So
family,
wait, we are digressing, but let's even go there,
Wait,
because if
I need to say so that they will know.
I can pray myself too, and God can tell. What if God tells me that we actually you need my daughter? I have opened up something for you in the UK
online. Virtually. So when I prayed, I mean, like, it was a very sincere prayer. I mean, God, what will you have us do? And the scripture that came to me for the family is
so
John. No, you can't be lying in front of camera now.
Oh my goodness!
Stay in this land, and I will bless you. And so we're staying, and I'm saying that for everybody to know, so that she don't bully me at home. Sorry, she doesn't like that word bully. Apologies. So she shouldn't be bullying me at home or traveling or leaving the country.
God can change his mind. God can give us another instruction.
No,
so
I agree.
I agree.
That. But for now, for us,
you know why you're holding my hand down?
Because I don't want to even run away.
Okay, so
but I agree that some people are supposed to leave, and you're encouraged to do that. Just make sure the way we do a thing determines what comes out of the thing. So I don't know what you want to say.
Yeah, so I think, like you said, planning is very important. So for some people, they have that release or go ahead to relocate for good reasons. Planning is important. Counsel is also important, because some people have gone ahead. So the thing is, a lot of people they crave of leaving. Yeah, we understand that things are not going well in Nigeria. There's an opportunity for things to be better when we leave the country and all. But the thing is, we need to focus on the fact that it affects so many other things. The consequences of it affecting our children, the consequences of it affecting our marriages and the likes. So counsel, some people have gone ahead. So it's important to ask them, how has your experience been?
Yeah.
A lot of people go there like newbies, assuming that we will just settle down, we will have it good, let's just leave. But ask people that have gone ahead, ask questions, observe, and then that will help with the planning. A lot of people, a lot of marriages have suffered and are suffering because there was no plan. People get there and the culture shock just hits them, and the balance, so they're trying to balance what they're doing, maybe school, a new life, and then having to attend to their marriage. So it's something that they're not used to. So ask questions. Those that have gone ahead of you. I remember talking to someone in Canada some time ago, and he said the reason why he was able to settle well was because he had his friends, and they could counsel him on what to do. If he didn't have those friends, he would have just assumed that, this is what I should do. But he said, because his friends were there, he was able to mitigate some mistakes that other people were making because of what his friends told him. So ask questions and ask the right people, So I
think that's the major part. Life is not a sprint, okay? It's a marathon. I know for us, especially from Nigeria, the leadership is not okay. That's my own evaluation. It's not okay at all, and things are not okay, and people are agitating, people want to leave. So if you are led to leave, please just try and exit well. It's important how you transit, because I just see people just jumping, taking steps, and they're not even looking, and then by the time they just jump, they now realize certain things and they cannot come back or take a step backward. After 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, they might end up with regrets. So I think, as Bimbo said, asking people, not ask someone that's still in Nigeria with you, ask those who are already there for like 5 years, and so you can have a smart move, okay? And maybe you should also consider other factors, as we have been saying, because I've had cases, I think Bimbo will speak to that a bit more, as a pastor, where a couple, the husband wants to leave, but the wife wants to stay back. And then somebody creeps away, like, I'm going to go and do a holiday in France or in the United Kingdom, and then the other party allows the person to go on maybe a vacation for like 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks become, I don't feel like coming back, and then 2 weeks become 2 months, and then everything changes. I don't know.
Yeah, I
How
think
do we manage that kind of attitude?
the truth is values. Values are also very important. What are your values? That's what I would, put out there. Because if marriage is important, if the marriage constitution is important to you, you would ensure that your marriage, it may not be perfect. We know marriage is perfect, but it should be in a good, healthy state before you travel. So if your marriage is not doing well, if there's so much conflict, it might not be the best time to relocate. Because when you leave, believe me, it's either one of them, I don't want to say the gender, but one of them like, now I am going
Have
to
the
show you.
If you have been a
Because
wicked man, for instance, and the woman is enduring you, and she'll just endure, allow
oh
you to
gosh,
move. When you move, the constitution out there is
the
different.
culture.
The
So
culture there is different.
yeah. So it's important that you before you travel, if marriage is important, and that's something that is up to each person and each family, the values that you have as a unit. So if it's that important, then get to a place, deal with those disturbing issues or conflicts that you're having, that you have swept under the carpet, and you think that when you travel, everything would, so deal with it before you travel. Then, when you get there, of course there will still be issues, but there will still be issues because you are trying to settle down. But because you are in agreement, because there's,
Yeah.
the marriage is doing well, so in an aspect, it's easier. But values are so important. The values that the country you're going to have is is different from your personal value. I'm not even talking about culture. I'm talking about values, because every nation has its own culture, but your values will determine how you allow the culture affect you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those of us if you're watching from maybe Canada or United States or United Kingdom, and people are living from your country of birth, like Nigeria, for instance, I want to encourage you to tell them the truth, okay, about your experience and what they should guard against. I mean, I'm not saying you should discourage them from coming, but I think we can help each other.
Yeah.
And maybe I also want to encourage that those of us that have been asked by God to stay back, we should get our PVCs and get ready to vote well and trust God. I believe our nation will get better one way or the other. And I believe many men that are going, God is going to prepare them. And sooner or later, not too far, they will, what's the opposite of Japa? They will jackme, they will come back into Nigeria and help rebuild our country or our continent. And if you're already on your way, you've already gotten your documents, you're on your way to any other country aside from your country of birth, I want to wish you well. We want to wish you well. Make your life a better place. I mean, make your life better than where you're coming from. A lizard in Nigeria, for instance, cannot become an alligator in any other country. So that you're in another country does not just suddenly make you a nice person or a good person or a
Can we
transformed person.
talk about the reason why you always use everything to inspire? As in, everything that happens to you. You drink tea, it's hot, you bring
A message out of it.
message out. It is not.
What should I have done?
It is not. It is not so good.
A
lizard in Nigeria, alligator.
Yes, a lizard in Nigeria cannot become an alligator in America. We are counseling
everything that happens to you.
We are counseling people in Nigeria. We are counseling people in Canada. So yes, if you cannot just become a better husband because you travel, or a better, and that's the truth. So whatever it is, be better where you are.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Oh yes, that's the reality.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done. Well done. Let's finish. By the way, we're gonna go on a break now. We'll see you later. We need to go and settle some things. Bye bye.
Okay, so sweetheart, you mentioned something earlier.
Welcome back. Welcome back
Oh,
to Conversations. Continue your conversation.
Earlier, you mentioned something about, if you're those of, maybe Nigerians that are out of the country, in Canada, or wherever, telling the truth about the experience where they are. And I realized that yeah, and that's a, a major factor when it comes to relocating.
Yeah.
Because some of us in Nigeria or wherever, we just assume that when you relocate, everything is like you've gone to heaven or paradise, everything goes well. But the truth is, especially when we see people there, there's a lot, they don't have time for themselves. There's so much that they do. They have to work to pay the bills. So that time to even give to
Family,
family, marriage is not there.
really there.
So what should they do? How should they balance that?
Are you asking me? I don't want to get it. Are you asking me? Because I'm not in diaspora. I'm here.
But
What,
when I go now, for instance,
what I wanted to ask you
or
before is this. What I want to ask you, when you say wanted to stay back, what were the reasons why you wanted to stay back? Forget,
I had my personal reasons.
No, you can't personal reasons. You're married.
Yes, no, okay, I should tell you.
Yeah, but why did you want to stay back? What are the reasons why you wanted to stay back? Because it's paining you.
Okay, so you thought I was like abandoning you, or
Yeah, because you wanted to stay in Nigeria. You don't go and stay in another country. Why? Don't you
for
like
the
my
work of the ministry?
No.
Yes.
Which ministry?
Ministry.
Number one, number two.
See, that's not the question I asked.
But the truth is, a lot of Nigerians like to form. When I say form, when they call you and you're in Canada or United Kingdom, yeah, I'm not saying you should not talk about how the systems are working, how certain things are better than where we are, but also let people know certain things. Because certain things you are able to endure and do well with there, it can be a disaster for another person entirely. I mean, I was in one European country recently, and one of our fellow citizens had a kind of rant with police people. I don't know whether he thought he was still in Nigeria, and they arrested him. The first place he had to go and even
cool down.
He had to cool down. They took him to psychiatric because the way he was behaving, they were wondering, this person okay? They took him for psychiatric evaluation. And one of the questions they asked him was, is there anybody in their family that has psychiatric problems? And then he reacted again angrily. That is your family, that is your own family that will have psychiatric problems. Can you imagine that?
Oh my gosh.
So the man just said, that he has a psychiatric problem, you know. I'm telling you a true story. I mean, I laughed and laughed and laughed. So people need to really be prepared. Many people just jump without thinking. And by the time they get to that other nation, they now realize that they're not even ready for it. And sometimes it's too late. I want people to really, not because, yeah, we have a huge challenge. Gaps are there in our nation today. But as much as you want to take a new step, pray, think, and transit well so that it becomes a continuum in that sense.
So some practical things to talk about would be the kind of jobs that you would, have to get there. If you're going there to school, if you're going to take up a job as well, you have to look at it, because we know, it's not easy. Unlike here in Nigeria, maybe using Nigeria as an example, if you have a baby, you maybe get pregnant there, you have a baby, you may not readily have a parent or a relative.
You will not have, except they are there.
Except they are there, yeah.
So that's one of the major challenges we saw. People, like Nigeria, where you have a support.
You like to interrupt me.
I'm interrupting.
So you know that.
I'm helping.
You know you
it's not interruption. I was helping you.
Okay, no problem.
I'm not going to talk again on this episode.
So we are talking about, those are things to look at. Are there things you have to sacrifice? Are there times you have to, give up? Because you have to still pay attention to your family, to your marriage. So those are the practical, topics or points of discussions to have before you relocate. Or if you have already relocated, then you have to just step back and have those discussions with your spouse, especially if you're married, because it's going to play out on your marriage and your family, your children, if you leave it to chance.
What about singles that are jackpotting, like living? I have a lot of young people, male, females.
And so how they're single, so it's
I
easier.
think it's better for them. It's easier for them. So, but always think about the future.
Yeah.
Though she says I'm always trying to inspire people, but please, when you get to any country, add value to people. Okay, life is about adding value. Yes, don't go there and be so self-centered about my career, my education. No, add value. When we raise other people up, our lives get better. Yeah, add value. I think you should add value. And when I travel, one of the things I'm always conscious of is this: that anything I do would one way or the other affect how they treat people of color. I'm always thinking about that. There's a way I behave that someone perhaps will behave differently.
It will leave
to
an
people,
impression.
a right impression
Yeah.
about people of color. And there's also a way you behave that can leave a bitter taste about people of color. So when I say adding value, I mean, rep well, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, don't let people say, oh, all Nigerians are corrupt, you know, all Nigerians are bad, or all people of color are this. I know there's a massive, racial problems are all over the place, but you can make a difference in the way you behave, in the things you say. Okay, so don't go to jail.
Okay, so see that we are going to talk about this in the next episode. When you're talking about when singles, just thinking, and when you mentioned singles locating, one thing that singles, at least I know, that affects singles is even the marriage and dating. So a lot of singles are well, I don't want to be negative, but that's the reality. Some singles are finding it difficult to even enter the marriage space, whether there or here. So we're going to talk about this next week, whereby we're asking why some people even find it easier to get a job, to focus on their career, than even they don't even want to think about marriage. In fact, they think that marriage is that difficult. So
we'll talk about that next week, but loneliness is horrible. Anyway, nobody plans for that. So next week episode, we'll talk about why young people are scared of getting married, or those who are married are thinking of running out of the union. See you next episode.
See you next episode.
Bye.
Bye.